Hi, garden friends. Welcome back to the Garden Girls podcast. I'm Meg,
And I'm Dagny.
and our friendship started in a group chat talking all things gardening. And today we are adding another garden friend to the group chat. This is Aaron. We have been online friends with him for quite a while now, I think, but
Ever.
yeah, like forever.
I know, I can't imagine a time without Aaron, like on the
I
internet,
know,
honestly.
Without peace.
So Aaron, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, we know, but our audience doesn't know. And also, we're going to be talking about garden rules that we love to break today. So go ahead and give us your favorite garden rule to break.
Oh, so many. So yes, I'm Aaron. Funny enough, I go by Garden Zaddy everywhere other than Instagram. Hey, Garden Zaddy, just there because the internet is a beautiful and spiteful place. But I am a urban organic gardener in Pasadena, California. I started just because, this is in fact all these, tapestries. I'm not in a college girl bedroom. This is my recording studio. I'm a music producer turned gardener, and I got tired of being stuck inside, so that I started growing stuff. And then this whole thing happened. So I love it. I grow everything. It's fun. And now let me think of, let's see, rules I love to break. I mean, I just exist in a state of chaos when it comes to my garden. I feel like, and I know your audience will resonate this, I feel like my gardening approach is very much Love Island-esque, where it's just never in a state of equilibrium in the best way possible.
I love
So
that.
I just love, messing with spacing rules. It might get me in trouble, but like pseudo non-native species and seeing how it helps native species and all this stuff. So it's just like the laundry list is long. Moving, bolting plants into weird parts of the garden so they produce seed elsewhere and help pollinators while reusing that space. I mean, there's so many.
I love that. I love that. And I love a Love Island reference. Please continue with
Same.
that.
Even though you don't
That's what we
watch
can
it,
talk about.
Dagny, don't be a poser.
What are you talking about? I've seen episodes. No, I'm just a
That,
married at first sight girly. You know this.
Yeah.
huh,
I, for one, love a chaotic garden. Like,
shocked.
yeah, no one's shocked here. I
No.
think
Yeah.
that garden rules are meant to be broken for sure. I think my favorite one is spacing.
Yeah.
I think like spacing is just those rules are meant to be broken. I don't think I've looked at the back of a seed packet since like after my first year of gardening. I think my first year I was very, like to a T,
By the book.
by the book. Because
Right.
like I feel like you have to be. I guess there's like this pressure, especially like when you're
Yeah.
a beginner gardener. But yeah, I've never looked at it since because it just doesn't work like that.
It's like usually wrong for me. I don't know. Like I don't trust the seed packets anymore personally.
Well, I think like they're supposed to
Yeah.
be meant for farmers too,
Right,
which is like
exactly.
something I didn't know when I
Right.
started out.
Yeah.
I thought it was just for backyard gardeners, but it's actually for like farmland, like the whole rows and things like that. Which I think is like a huge misconception. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in that and they're like, what do you mean rows? Like I don't have enough room for rows that are 12 feet
know.
Right.
apart,
My garden is
12
8
inches
feet
apart.
long.
I
Right,
mean, I would love to
exactly.
have a tractor. If I could have a tractor, then yes, I would do that. But
Yeah.
no, it's just
Like
it's
an
not happening here.
automated thing.
Oh my
That'd be
gosh.
great.
I feel like I got kind of a cheat sheet early on since I started with containers, especially with like earth boxes, because all their rules are like so just like plant so much stuff in tiny spaces. And so then like actually started looking at seed packets and like in raised bed recommendations. Like, wait, I'm supposed to be putting my tomatoes how far apart? I've been doing them like they're like a foot and they're doing fine. So it's like I got a hack there, and I've just kind of stuck with it even with raised beds, and it's chaos, but great.
Do you feel like you identify with like one specific spacing method, like intensive planting or square foot, or is it just kind of like all chaos all the time?
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
For the life of me, I've really like tried to think of like square foot gardening as like a guiding ethos, but it's just like I've always been too like when it's time to actually plant stuff, I'm too, just like in the spur of the moment and then, deal with the repercussions later. I think with container spacing, I have like a few tried and true rhythms or, kind of formulas like with those earth boxes. I mean, I think like a 25-gallon container and like 2 feet wide, foot deep, foot tall maybe. And it's like I can do 2 indeterminate tomatoes in there and 2 or 3 basil plants and grow for like 8 months. So
Yeah.
it's like that's insane in the world of like in-ground spacing. But Other than that, I just kind of feel it out. And again, I just experiment where one season it's like, oh, that was a little too close, or oh, actually I have more space than I thought. Then next year or next season, given where I live,
Right.
I just try again and see what works better.
I think we do get caught up as beginners, especially in this like following the rules thing. And the best gardeners truly are the ones that just learn from last year and learn from their mistakes. It makes such a big difference. It really does. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my rule would probably have to be removing weeds. Like I don't like to remove weeds if I don't have to. If it's well, I'm a lazy gardener, like you guys know. I want to do like the least as amount possible, and if it's not like mugwort, I will probably leave it. Like if it's something that I know to be very aggressive and invasive, I will pull it. But if it's something like crabgrass, I'm probably not gonna bother unless there's a huge quantity of it. I don't know. I've just found that like the plants don't seem to mind as much as people think they do.
Right.
I always start out like in the spring. I'm like, every weed is getting out of here. My garden is gonna look pristine. And then we're in July and there are weeds all over the place. And I'm just like, I don't care. You're gonna stay there till the fall when it's cold or cool enough for me to even be out here to pull you. But yeah, kind of lax with the weeds as well. Unless it's something like the squirrels love to plant trees.
Right.
Which I brought this up because I know how much you hate squirrels, Aaron.
It is the corner. If there's one cornerstone of my content, it is my hatred for squirrels. That's what I was going to say. Like weeds and even disease, honestly. It's like it's so much lower down on the totem pole for me compared to pests and squirrels in particular, just because it's like I got in a like not a beef, but just like a funny comment where someone was like commenting on like my tomatoes and like some leaf curl, and they're like, these can't be sweet tomatoes. They look ugly. And it's like, trust me, they're alive. The squirrels aren't eating them. They're just fine,
I know you have to kind of like choose your battles, I feel like, and everyone has like a different thing. Like if you're dealing with weeds that are literally choking out your entire garden, that's one thing. But if the squirrels are the problem, then focus on the squirrels.
I have one squirrel in my garden that is the problem, but he's kind of like friends with my chickens. So it's like, it's hard for me to be mad at him.
That's a manipulation. He's totally doing that on purpose.
He's gaslighting you.
I have a video of him literally yesterday, like hanging out with my chickens. Like he's in the chicken yard. And I think it's because like I throw them scratch and that has sunflower seeds and stuff in it. And squirrels, I guess like, I didn't know that they liked sunflower seeds, but they do. Yeah, and he's like
All
gobbling
seeds.
up their sunflower seeds. He's just like hanging out with the chickens, eating their scratch. Like he's a chicken. But then he goes and he plants trees in my garden. He doesn't do a lot of damage. So it's like, I'm like, you're chill. Just don't like dig up stuff. Like,
Right.
But I'll pull a tree or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, whatever. He's really cute. So I don't know. I can't be too mad
Love
at
that
him.
for you.
Yeah.
We weirdly have not had a ton of squirrels here. I mean, we have so many other things, but squirrels, I feel like I see like one, like maybe once a week I'll see one. But
Wow.
yeah, but then I go up the street and there's like a family of them when I'm walking. So it's definitely not like a Massachusetts thing. It's just my yard. But we have chipmunks. We have so many chipmunks, and they're so cute that I like can't be mad at them.
It's like, it's hard to be mad at wildlife because wildlife is really cute.
See, this is the beef that I have. Are you guys friends with, what's her name? Like gardening with Des. She and I are always beefing about this because she's like, I leave water out for the squirrels. I feed the squirrels. Like, I pay for the squirrels' health care. Like, Meanwhile, I literally, like, if I have time, I'll be in my garden, particularly with the jet sitting on my hose, just like, psh, psh.
I've seen it, and I'm like, no.
I'll walk to the fence line and I'll see where they're hiding in the trees, and I've got good enough water pressure that I just,
No.
And like it's probably like 30 to 40 squirrels in my garden a day.
What?
Like I am apparently a sanctuary for them, and it's not a consensual agreement, So it's like, yeah, I mean, I think you've seen it. It's like my thing is like I cover now. I hate doing it, but I cover all the beds with chicken wire, surface level, and then I mulch on top of it to hide it so it doesn't look as ugly, as you would expect it to. And that finally is the only solution I've tried. It's like I've done, the cayenne pepper, blood meal, diatomaceous earth. It just none of it works. They just love digging.
See, we'd probably feel differently if we had an infestation like that.
I know.
That
I was
is-
thinking. I
would
was
say
like,
that
I
that
have
is
never
an
heard of
infestation.
that. Is so many squirrels.
Like
Like you
multiple
can't
families
possibly.
of squirrels. That's a whole community.
I think I'm guessing it's I have so many big trees kind of around my house that like they're just posted up, and they've probably existed there long before I started gardening, but they love the extra real estate now that there's more fun places to put acorns, you know. Now, thankfully, they do not win anymore because again, I found that. And I mean, it has proved somewhat beneficial because I think the two most viewed YouTube videos I've made have been about this subject. So like it all works out in the end, but yeah, whenever people are like, "Oh, they're so cute," and I'm like, "They are rats with fluffy tails."
And you can make people upset over friggin' anything. Not you specifically, just in general. Like
Me
I
too, though.
posted well, I've had issues with like I posted like the water like pollinator watering station and people are like mad at me about that.
Really?
They're mad because first because I didn't specifically mention wasps and like apparently that means I'm not in support of wasps, which to be very clear for the record, I am in support of wasps. Let's just say it, okay, for the record. But also like somebody said that it was like attracting mice and ants and all sorts of things and I'm like, I don't know.
Can't
I
wait.
just can we just like let the bees have some water and the wasps? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just it's funny what people choose to get upset
Well,
about.
I've gotten
for
death
sure.
threats over eating a sunflower. So I mean,
Girl, how is that going with your newest one? You reposted it. You were brave.
it didn't quite reach the very dark depths of the internet like it did last year, but it has reached like kind of a little bit of a darkness in on TikTok. People just don't like it. I don't know. They're like, "What are you doing?
Wild.
This is stupid. I would never do this. You're gonna
Well,
eat so
they're
many
missing
bugs."
out.
And, like
They are
extra
missing out.
protein, whatever.
Do you know how
I
many
can't-
bugs we all eat?
Yeah, I know. And especially just like a quick little garden snack. It's like, there's probably a green lacewing egg on this strawberry.
Absolutely.
I'm fine. It's protein.
It's protein.
Right.
Exactly.
Who cares?
I cannot it doesn't make me laugh because it's not funny, but it blows my mind the like hate that you guys get because you're just like out there in the garden in your floral sundresses picking like
Oh,
you
that's
know,
the problem.
a hibiscus flower and turning it into tea, and someone's like, "This is stupid," you know. I get it for me because it's like I also like I know that I have like a billion ads that are always running on my like stories and stuff, so I get the rage there. But it's like, how can you be mad at the two of y'all? It doesn't make any sense.
We
to
could
me.
probably
Oh.
have a whole other episode about
They
like the
find a way.
differences in like a male versus female gardener on
Right.
the internet. Because like I still get the comments about my nails and they're like, "You don't actually grow your garden. Who's doing your garden? You can't garden with nails like that."
Yeah. You can't wear dresses and garden either. It's not allowed.
That's like a
So
whole
funny.
Anyway, we're
crazy.
getting a little bit off
A little
topic.
It's an
okay.
experiment. It's in the
okay.
bubble.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is,
yeah.
right? I'll say another rule that I love to break. And
Please.
I've just started this one this year, so I guess it's also experimenting. But I planted my tomatoes this year, some of them in partial sun instead of full sun. And the ones that are in partial sun are actually doing so much better than the ones that are in full sun. And I mean, I live in North Carolina. The heat is super intense here. And there's people that have like shade cloths and stuff, but I'm too lazy to do that. So I just decided to plant them in partial sun. And they're doing so much better. So like the tomatoes that I have in full sun, they're literally baking, they're frying, their flowers aren't setting, and the flowers are literally just shriveling up and not setting. So I'll probably have another flush from those in the fall. But the ones in partial sun, they're doing amazing, and they're still pumping out tomatoes. Their flowers are not roasting, and they're great. So I feel like it's kind of a myth that tomatoes need to be in full sun always. I think it just depends on where you live and how intense your sun can get in the summer.
Well, like you have to keep in mind your climate. And I feel like that's the hardest thing to do when you're first starting out, especially. Like I have tomatoes in the two beds on either side of the arches, but the right side of the arches is in shade a lot sooner than the left side, but they both have the tomatoes. So I'm very curious to see how this ends up playing out for me because so far it seems like the sunnier side is doing better, but it's not as hot here as it is where you are. So it really just seems to depend.
Yeah, I think that's something you always have to experiment with, the sun. Yeah.
And even like the thing of like not all sun is the same. It's like morning and evening sun are such a different animal than like 1 p.m. sun, particularly in blisteringly hot climates.
Yeah.
It's like what can survive at 1 p.m. versus 6 hours of 3 in the morning, 3 at night. World of difference.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, so my
makes
tomatoes are
sense.
so much happier this year, the ones that are in partial shade. So that's a lesson learned for me. I think I'm gonna plant probably all of them in a partial shade area next year, just because they're
Mm.
doing so much
Yeah.
better.
I started doing like the green stalks. I have them so you can turn them, but I
Hmm.
stopped turning them because I'm pregnant and I'm lazy and like, why are we doing this? So I just put all like the shade loving crops on that side. And it's the same kind of idea where I'm just keeping the things that do better in less sun out of the sun.
That's exactly what I do with my garden towers. Namely, because it's how I have my irrigation set up on them, where it's like there's a line going up, so turning would may
Yep.
require like lifting it up a little bit and then kind of marionetting it around. But it's like, I mean, cilantro here just in the summer is insane, everywhere really. But I mean,
Yeah.
so it's like I use the north side because the north side gets morning and evening sun, but no midday sun. Just how it is positioned. And then afternoon, it's like that's where I put my peppers and all that kind of jazz. And
Yep.
yeah, delightful.
That makes sense. Yeah. Cilantro can be a real B for sure.
I never get cilantro in the summer. It just immediately bolts. I even try the varieties that are like long standing and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
supposed to be heat intolerant and everything, and it just I don't know, even if I plant in part shade, I guess it's just too much for them.
Yeah, they're so sensitive.
I just let them go to seed and then they'll replant themselves for the fall and then they come up in the fall. But it's like it's so
True.
annoying with cilantro because like the time that
Such
I
a
want
summery.
it is the summer. I don't want it
Right.
in
Right.
the spring or the fall. I want it with my
I know.
tomatoes so I can make salsa. I want it with, so I don't know. It's just such a frustrating crop.
I will say, like, I think one of my best experiments was been with cilantro, with seeing like the pollinator benefits of bolted cilantro. And it's like, and I get occasional fights with people on like pollinator support, but it's like, I would say, like, almost number one supporter of like small pollinators. My garden is bolted cilantro more than yarrow, more than alyssum. And it's like not native, not whatever, but like
Yeah.
sweat bees, hoverflies, tiny little parasitic wasps, ladybugs. That's the number one. It's crazy.
They love it. They love anything that has those like teeny tiny little flowers that they can get into because
Yeah.
like the native bees like they're sometimes like super super small and so they're not gonna get nectar from these huge flowers. They need like little tiny ones and so yeah, I think that's why they love them so much. But yeah, you're right. Like mine is always covered with pollinators when I let it go to flower more than anything.
We don't really think about like native versus non-native in vegetable gardening quite as much as we do with the flowers, and that's like a
Right.
really good example of that, where it's like, yes, it's cilantro, it's a food and it's not native, but it still can benefit the environment. And I know that can be a very heated topic for a lot
Hmm.
of people. I've seen some big fights breaking out recently about this actually.
So let's stir the pot.
Let's go. What you got, Aaron?
Oh, I have so many fights about this because it's like, I don't know. I feel like, and I get the vibe from y'all too, that it's like, I'm just so deeply pragmatic. Like, and if something works and like the end result is reached, great, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think my like gateway plant into that whole thing of, even if it's not native, it can support native pollinators and species was like my popcorn cassia or the senna. And it's like that plant is not native to the US, period. But it's like that's what first got like the valley carpenter bees showing up in my garden. And those are like the biggest pollinators of my tomatoes now. That's got like all the like a bajillion different types of caterpillars on it. Even yesterday, I started filming like honeybees are like just chowing down on it. So it's like that plant is completely not native, but it's like supports more native species than anything else. So I think just, with that topic, like people need to just like take a breath and take a look at it from a
Right.
broad perspective. If it's actually invasive and damaging the ecosystem, yeah, trash, don't do it. But like if it's actually helping, maybe we need to broaden our definition. But what do y'all
Yeah, I
think?
can't stand when people are like either all or nothing with anything. It's like there's a balance. I mean, you can try to have, like say 50 or more percent of your garden be native flowers, but then like our vegetables aren't even native.
Right.
Right,
Our tomatoes aren't native, our cucumbers aren't
No.
native. Like nothing that we eat is native except for
right,
corn, ground cherries, passion fruit, like certain things, but our staple crops are not even native to here. So,
right.
you know.
No, I guess for me, it's like, okay, what's better? Not growing a garden at all because you're so scared of trying to follow all of these rules, or growing one and like learning as you go, of course, and not planting anything inherently harmful.
Right.
But, incorporating these things that maybe do break the rules
Hmm.
in order to enjoy it enough to continue doing it. Like, growing a garden is inherently a good idea. It just is. And so
Absolutely.
why would we impose rules on people that are going to make them feel like it's harder and maybe discourage them from trying at all? That's my biggest problem with it in general and just rules in general. I don't know, like and I feel like this comes up in a lot of creative fields too. Like when I was in photography for so long, like a lot of it was you need to know the rules in order to know when to break them. And that applies to gardens too. Like we need to know the important things that are like really bad to include in your garden, but overall, even if it's not native, if it's still contributing positively to your little ecosystem, you might as well do it.
I got so many comments on like my honeysuckle syrup
Hmm.
video. They're like, that's not native. People were pissed and that I had
Yeah, I remember
honeysuckle in
that.
my garden. I'm like, first of all, I didn't even plant this. Like honeysuckle, if you live in the southeast, or I think like a lot of places in America, but especially the southeast, like it is rampant. It grows wild. You can find it on the side of the road. Like it is everywhere. So if it's there, you might as well use it. And
Right.
I think you also figure these things out along the way. Like if you start gardening and say you accidentally plant something that's considered invasive or like very aggressively growing, like mint or something, like say you accidentally plant it in the ground, like maybe you need to do that to learn. I feel like
Hmm.
tactile learning is for me, like I learn by making mistakes. And I think that's
Mm.
like the best way to learn in gardening, which ties
Hmm.
back into this whole experimentation kind of aspect of gardening. Yeah, like I think that's just like the best way to learn. So you can't like let yourself get caught up in all of these like, oh, I have to follow these
Yeah.
rules. Like make mistakes
Yeah.
and learn from it, and that's gonna make you such a better gardener in the long run.
100%. I feel like people looking for diverse perspectives is also super helpful go early on. And it's like, obviously we're all in this game of, what like gets people watching is what it is. But like, if you're looking at a plant that you think might be invasive, I think it's super helpful, find, like I'll use an example. It's is mullein invasive? And then I'll be like, how is mullein invasive, and like kind of look into it a little bit more. And like I think the biggest distinction by a long shot for people is when it comes to an invasive species, is it invasive because of how it seeds, or is it invasive because of how it spreads rhizomes? And it's like
Mm.
there's a world of difference between the two, because like, and I know both of y'all, like health is such a cornerstone thing. And like mullein for me is like a thing of like, whenever that's been the biggest game changer when I start to get sick, like the
Mhm.
tinctures I've made from it. And it's one of those like super controversial species, but it's like, because it only spreads from seed and it takes like 2 years to seed, my encouragement is always like, hey, if you think this is a benefit to you and it doesn't grow in your area, you know, grow it, use the leaves, use the flowers, chop the thing down, you will never see it again.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
learning and researching just a little bit more rather than just taking is invasive at face value.
Learn to control it, like how it
Mm.
spreads and how you can
Hmm.
contain it to your yard or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
that's a really good way to look at it. Mullein, it grows wild here too, on the
Same.
side of the road, everywhere. I love it. It's
So
such
Yeah.
a
funny.
beautiful
It
flower
is.
too. And it's
Yeah.
very useful medicinally.
Another thing that I feel like people get really hung up on is pruning. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but especially because I've been talking about like the fruit trees more the past year or so. There's a lot of people who want to know, like, oh, how exactly do you prune? And I do have videos where I go into pruning on my YouTube, but a lot of it is me just being like, here's my thought process behind this. It's not an exact rule that I'm following. It's art more than science to me. And I get like why there's probably more pressure from people for a fruit tree because obviously like you make a mistake, it's going to last a lot longer and be a lot harder to correct in the future, and it can be a big investment to plant a fruit tree in the first place. But I don't know. I feel like you get better results with fruit trees if you kind of just understand the fundamentals and then just look at your individual tree because every tree is different, you know?
Yeah, I always say that like pruning is for us. It's not for the plant because in the wild, like plants don't get pruned. They're going to grow either way
Right.
and they're going to produce fruit either way. It's more what you are wanting out of the plant, how you want it to look or how you want it to grow a specific way. That's more what it is than you accidentally killing your plant. Like I don't think you're going to kill your plant
Right.
if you prune it, unless you prune it all the way back to the ground and you weren't supposed to
Right.
do that or
Right.
something,
Cut the graft point
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
pretty aggressive pruner. I'm out
Yeah.
there like
Hmm.
Meg scissor hands all the time. And
That's great.
I prune pretty heavily. I'll leave
Huh.
like a third of the plant sometimes, especially if something's getting too unruly. I'm just like, yep, most of you is gonna go. And I feel like I get better plants that way. like my rosemary bush, everyone always asks me like how do you get like such a huge like beautiful rosemary bush? I'm like, I cut it down like 2/3 every year.
I feel that way about it's funny because I feel like I'm kind of probably going to swing the other way with like tomatoes. I really just prune at this point. I just prune them for support. Like if they're growing somewhere where they're just going to fall and snap, I got to cut it
Yeah.
off. But like I feel like my hot take of experimentation in that realm is like tomatoes are just kind of like prone to be a little bit ugly, especially the farther you get in the season. And it's like if you look at like commercially grown tomatoes or, big tomato farms, it's like most of the time those plants are ugly as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
But like because people are so like tomatoes are the holy grail of gardening, it's
Yeah.
like they must be beautiful. They must be fully green. The leaves must be like open like a book, and it's like tomatoes can kind of get ugly and they're still going to be fine. It's like my tomatoes look kind of hideous right now, but it's like, boy, are they producing. And it's just kind of like yeah, again, just mess around. But I think they're kind of an ugly plant and that's fine.
Yeah, and I'm an aggressive pruner with tomatoes too. Like I'm pruning off all of the lower leaves and they look scraggly as heck. Like they do. Like they're just like it's like a straight stem up and then like the top leaves are the ones that yeah, it's like a little
Yeah,
umbrella.
same.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like they're so ugly. You also learn with that too and
Right.
you're pruning it to based off of what you want out of the plant. Do you want larger tomatoes? Do you want less disease? Do you want like, smaller tomatoes or more tomatoes or what? Like, yeah.
Right.
that's a
I mean,
whole
like, once
topic.
again, it's about nuance. Like, there is no black and white answer. I've had years where I don't prune my tomatoes at all. And I have other years where it's like my main form of stress relief is pruning the tomatoes. Like, I don't know. It just totally depends on the year, on the specific plants I'm growing and how I'm feeling too. And especially with tomatoes, I feel like rules and tomatoes go together like way too easily. Everyone is very like, this is the
Locked
way.
in.
Yeah, intense about tomatoes.
It's like Aaron said, they're like the holy grail. Why is it
Yes.
tomatoes? Why is it tomatoes that's the holy grail of
I
gardening?
know.
I think it's because it's like such a popular food to eat, so everyone wants to grow it as their first thing. But like, I tell people not to grow tomatoes as their first thing that they grow because it can be very overwhelming, especially with all the rules people like to throw out there.
Right.
I feel like that is a very like intermediate level crop.
Yeah. Cherry tomatoes a little bit easier, maybe. If someone was like, I really want to do a tomato and I've never done anything, I'd say cherry tomatoes probably. Okay, we need to talk crop rotation. Because
Okay,
this is like
yes,
another
that's
one
another
where I'm
rule.
like, I don't follow this rule. And you're like, you should maybe follow that rule. And I just ignore you.
It's something I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell me tell me your stance on
Oh
it.
my
and we'll-
gosh. Okay, listen. I have a lot of beds, but they're specific for specific things. So like the arch trellises, I want to grow my cucumbers on my arch trellises every single year. I know I shouldn't do it. I understand, but I'm gonna do it anyway because they look really nice. And then otherwise I have to find a whole nother trellis system. This is where my trellises are, and that's my problem. I'm sorry.
Crop rotation can be complicated though, because if you don't have a lot of space, like if you only have one space to
Yeah.
grow something like that, then that's your only space that you have. But where crop rotation would be beneficial is like the cucumber beetles, they pupate in the soil. So they're growing like right in the soil that is
I
there.
know.
So if you leave them, they're gonna come back. But then there are things to counteract that, like beneficial nematodes that you can put in the soil. So
Yeah,
like there's
if
ways
you do it
around
in
it.
time.
There's ways around it. But the lesson that I learned with crop rotation is a little bit more sinister than cucumber beetles, and that was a wilt, a tomato wilt. There's different wilts. There's like verticulum wilt, fusarium wilt. I don't know which wilt it was. I just know that I planted all of my tomatoes in this bed that I had planted tomatoes in for like the previous 2 years, and all of them died, and they all wilted and died.
Dang.
And so a wilt like that is typically like a soil-borne bacteria. So it lives in the soil like pretty much for forever at that point. And if I had rotated them, it could have been prevented. I don't know. But now I can never grow tomatoes in that bed again. So it's like if you don't rotate your crops, you're eventually going to be forced to do it. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just, you're raising your risk of like diseases or whatever that can affect a certain crop.
I feel like, well, first of all, as soon as you said pupate, Meg, I was like, oh, you're coming to play here. Like this is about to be.
She's breaking out the biology
She
degree.
said, all right, where's these glasses? All right, so pupate. Yeah, I'm like in the same boat of like should, but like yeah, my favorite place to grow tomatoes is always in the same spot, and also it's like if I let them get a little ugly, I've never noticed a drop in real production in those spaces. I also maybe it's me living in La La Land to some degree, but I feel like. I mean, I did like a permaculture course and was so like soil food web forward that it's like I kind of just am of the belief, and this is probably an antithesis to your thing, Meg, of like if I'm like feeding the soil religiously, I'm doing all these like compost tea drenches and things like that, like it'll all work out in the end. And obviously, I'm sure I will at some point hit a wall in some way, but many years in the same space I haven't had that issue where it's like, I mean, not that I've had no issues, but like, that helps. I find with a lot of diseases is like really feeding the soil like aggressively, but not with chemical goodies and whatnot.
I would
Makes
just
sense.
suggest for anyone, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Don't put all of your tomatoes in one bed because that is what I did
Fair,
that one
fair.
year, and they all got wiped out. At the end of the
Crazy how it
day,
happens.
crop rotate if you can, if you want to. If you don't,
Right. It's definitely
it's
a
whatever.
should.
Yeah,
It's a should.
it's a should. It's a should, but you can break the rule if you want. Do whatever you want. At the end of the day, there are no rules to gardening. You can do whatever you want. We all have free
Clearly.
will.
Yeah. You
After
have
the
to-
20-minute seminar on crop rotation.
Yeah. One thing,
whatever.
one of the rules that I break in my zone, they're commenting, they're like, how are you so far ahead of me? How are you already harvesting tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever? And it's because I planted before the frost date. I planted before I was supposed to. I just took a risk. And, we had like, you have your average last frost date that you're supposed to kind of go by.
Does Aaron have those?
I was going to let you finish talking.
They don't have any frost dates in California.
No.
Here
Sorry.
we have an average, last frost date, and there's like old timers that say you're not supposed to plant anything until after Mother's Day, which is way too long to wait for me. Oh my
Wow.
God, that is like in May. I'm wanting to plant in
Memorial
March.
Day here.
It is like
Wow.
warm enough here that I want to plant in March. So sometimes I just go with my gut, and if I'm like, wow, it's unusually warm in March, I'm gonna plant in March. 2 months before my first frost date, and it worked
You
out
put
for
your
me this year.
tomatoes in March.
Dang.
Okay.
You definitely should
Yep,
move to California for that.
and
I
they
know.
say like don't plant your tomatoes because they like the heat and stuff, and I get that, but I feel like they they also, I don't know, mine are doing great. My plants are doing fine. The cucumbers, everybody's like, how do you already have cucumbers? I know cucumbers like heat. I know this, but I planted them early anyways, and we had a few cold days, and they did totally fine. And there's always covers if you need to cover, like if you plant something early and a frost is coming, you can cover it really quick. I don't know. It's just a rule that I don't follow, and it always works out for me. I don't know.
I was gonna say I don't follow it either, but then I was like, oh my God, not March, because here we cannot get away with March. But I definitely am like probably about 2 weeks ahead on a lot of things. I mean, you're risking like the growth being stunted. The plant's not gonna die outright. It's just maybe gonna be a little bit slower. So like, does it actually work? I don't know, but it seems to be fine most of the time.
Yeah, sorry, my input in this
Yeah,
discussion will be
please.
rage-inducing for 85% of gardeners, I'm sure. And because you can kind of grow tomatoes and peppers here like as a perennial, honestly. I mean, you obviously are faced with way more disease pressure in like December, but not frost. So it's like this year I was so late with planting both. And in years prior, I've, planted at, March, whatever. But then I'm like trying to push myself to what I've seen friends of mine posting who like, again, ridiculous, but will plant their tomatoes in like early January. And to that point of like, getting the root system established and then popping up. And I've like, even though I intellectually know it with particularly my super hot peppers, it's like capsicum chinense, they really take a long time to establish the root system before shooting up. It's like, I need to be planting those way earlier because, even though they love the blistering heat and do well with it, it's like they can take that time to, foop and go. But sorry.
I'm so jealous.
We're used to it by now.
Yeah,
I know.
I
I feel so bad.
I'm gonna try to overwinter peppers this year though in the greenhouse. Maybe I've never tried it
it's fun.
before. I've never tried it before. We'll see how it goes, but that does make me kind of furious that you can just do it without a greenhouse.
I'm happy to yap about perennializing peppers. It's like there's the 5 main pepper species, but it's like the capsicum annuums are so easy to perennialize, and like just kind of rip out and stick in a spot, and then they'll come back when you plant them. Those are so easy. The like capsicum chinense, like the habaneros, ghost peppers, which I'm sure you're growing. Those like are a little more fussy because they love blistering heat and don't really love the cool.
I'm growing habaneros, but I'm not growing ghost peppers. I learned my lesson with like the super hots. I just can't. The second I turned 30, my body just can't like tolerate spicy stuff that much anymore. Like I used to love spicy, like the hottest of the hot, 10 out of 10. Like I should have been on hot ones. I would have aced it. But like now it's like, I don't know. I just can't.
Girl,
like it's not
have
good.
a baby. The baby just wants spicy things. It's so weird.
Really?
Like
I would've thought
I
the
didn't really
opposite.
care for spicy stuff before, and now it's like, yeah, I'll put hot sauce on everything. Sure.
Okay.
It's
I would have
interesting.
thought the complete opposite. Like, do you
I
not get
know.
more heartburn?
I
Acid
do.
reflux?
I do.
Oh, okay.
It's terrible, but I just suffer.
So
I
baby's
mean-
trying to kill you.
And apparently they can
Yeah.
like taste it. Like they have taste
Oh.
buds already and it gets through the placenta. Yeah.
No way.
So weird. So supposedly like maybe they'll like hot things more if I
Your
eat them
kid's
now.
gonna come out with a full sleeve.
Yes. That's what I'm programming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full sleep.
There's also a lot of health benefits to like the super hots. I mean, that's
True.
like the whole fun lore of what's his name, Pepper Ed. Ed, what's his? Either way, Ed, the guy who like invented the Carolina Reaper and Pepper X, is that he got into it because I'm pretty sure was it his. I think his wife had like cancer, and like he like was like going in the whole like herbal route of like trying to figure out solutions. And one of the biggest things he found was the benefits of capsaicin, and that's how he became crazy. But so like there is something there too, but it
Yeah.
is a sadistic health benefit.
I love a good like cayenne pepper shot, like lemon, honey, cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
Those are really great. And
That sounds
they
so
have
good.
health benefits for chickens too. Like they recommend that you put pepper seeds or pepper powder in your chicken feed because it also has health benefits for chickens. And it can get into their eggs and pass those health benefits on to you, apparently. And so I've been putting pepper flakes in my chicken feed for forever, and they don't have the spicy, they can't taste spicy. So
They sure don't.
yeah, they love it.
And you know how I know that? Because chickens and peacocks for the longest time were eating all my peppers. And again, they just don't take. They
Wait,
don't-
Wait, you just have wild.
You just have,
wild-
wait,
Hold
there's
on,
a
it's
peacock
glazing
coming
over.
in. Yeah, you're just like, you know what? What about peacocks?
I
No.
don't.
Sorry,
We have
probably should have.
turkeys.
Peacocks are kind of like turkeys, just with flair.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because all birds can't taste capsaicin, or capsaicin doesn't have an effect. But yeah, in Pasadena, we just have a wild, or I think the technical term is feral population of peacocks. We have
This is
peacocks
new
and parrots.
information.
I know, it's Alice in
You
Wonderland.
have
I guess.
parrots too?
Yeah, they're they're not nearly as annoying as like lawnmowers and leaf blowers, which I'm sure is a whole other fun topic. But like, they're chatty Cathy's in the trees. But yeah, there's like, I think the like urban legend here, I don't know how true it is, but it's like there was like a zoo back in like the 40s or something where a guy had like all these like peacocks, parrots, and all this stuff, and then like he died or something, and then they just all released and populated. But yeah, like every morning when I walk my dog, I'll run into 6 to 8 peacocks. They're on roofs. They're it's crazy.
Oh my god. And so my aunt had a peacock. Like I grew up on a farm where like all of my aunts, like my grandpa bought the farm and then he divided the land between all of his 6 kids. So like I lived near all of my aunts and uncles, and my aunt, she had like a farm basically. She had all these weird animals and she had a peacock. And when they scream, they sound like they're screaming for help. Like they sound like help, help. Like
Oh
we
my
thought that
God.
they were like, she lived across the farm and we thought that people were like, someone was calling for help, but it turned out to just be her peacock all the time.
Oh.
So I couldn't imagine like hearing that all the time just randomly. Or
Jen, do they sound like they're screaming for help?
I don't know. She had a male peacock. I
Yeah,
don't know
the-
if it's
the-
different, like male, female, but it sounded
Yeah,
like
they're both chatty.
help, hey. I don't know.
They're very chatty for sure. It is a very funny thing. I mean, I posted on my stories once in a blue moon, where it's like because they can't really fly. They just kind of and so they'll be like on like 20 foot up on a roof, and like 4 or 5 of them just like on someone's roof just hanging. I mean, the funny like urban chaos here is that like we have an insane amount of coyotes here. So it's like the peacocks are always trying to get away from the coyotes, so they jump up on the roofs to, get away from them.
I feel like you're describing Jumanji or something right now.
A
Like,
little bit.
I know.
like what? I do. When I'm
Where
picturing
in the
like
world?
Pasadena, California, I'm not picturing coyotes, peacocks, and parrots. I don't
I
know.
know. You're giving me ideas. I need to like walk around with like my best like David Attenborough
Yeah,
voice and
to
just
be honest, because
Yeah.
I feel like other people in other places just wouldn't believe that. That's
the
crazy.
urban peacock. Yeah.
You got it.
You kind of have like a narrator type of voice too. Like I feel like you could narrate like
I've heard that.
a wildlife something
Yeah.
or another for sure.
So get on that wildlife doc, please.
I know. I mean, I love documenting like anytime I see like a new native bee or something, I try and make it into like a thing of like, this is the longhorn bee. But then weirdly that stuff never does any well, so I'm like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
But I do love to try.
All of my videos about insects too, they never really take off that
No
much.
love
Except
for
for
the
the one
bees.
about the wasp. There was like one random one
Oh,
about
yeah.
the what
The
kind of
one
wasp
that
was
lives
it?
in the
That
ground.
lived in the hole and we like
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds like a children's book.
The wasp that lived.
in the hole. Love your children's book.
I should
Please
write a
go and
children's
publish.
book. Maybe I should write a children's
Oh my
book
gosh,
about
you
that wasp.
should.
It was
You should.
it
The
did,
wasp in the hole.
It did hang out for like a couple of months. It was very
Yeah.
scary.
I know, Dagny, you mentioned wasps. It's like I, in my mind, know that they're beneficial, but boy, do I hate paper wasps. It's like name it
I
'cause they
love
hate me.
wasps.
Mm.
I don't know what it is. I'm like very anti-bug in general, which I don't like to admit. Like they just stress me out when I'm around them. But the
Gonna say,
stinging
say
ones,
that one more time. I'm gonna post it.
yeah, it's already recording. The stinging ones don't bother me. Bees and wasps, I'll take. I don't know why.
Did you said the stinging ones don't bother you?
Yeah, if I see a stink bug or ants, I hate that. Even the cucumber beetles, gross, gross. But if you're singing, it's fine. I don't know. They wear their danger on the outside. They're very like loud and proud, and I know what to expect from them.
Have you ever been like attacked from a nest of them?
Well,
Before?
no. Obviously, if I had, I
have.
probably would feel very differently.
Yeah.
I have been attacked. I was
gonna say,
trying.
Meg,
yeah,
what do you hate?
fair.
So this was like long before I was doing this. I was a personal assistant for this family, and they had me checking their mail like every day, and they had a wasp nest under their mailbox that I did not know about. And so I went to check the mail, I opened it, and apparently that disturbed them. I got stung 5 times by probably 5 different wasps that attacked
Wow.
me. And I have huge allergic reactions to them, like skin, not like anaphylaxis or anything, but
Yeah.
my skin just like wells up, like huge. And I had to do the thing where I like outlined it to make sure it wasn't getting any bigger and like infected and everything. It was like the worst. It was on my arms, my legs. Ever since then, not
That's
not
What
the-
other bugs do you hate?
I understand.
yeah.
I'm curious.
What other bugs do
No,
I hate?
Mm-hmm.
Squash vine borer.
Okay.
If I
good.
see
Number
squash
one.
vine borer in my garden, it's on site.
Hornworms.
Hornworms. Oh. Even though they're kind of cute. Like they look like Pokemon.
I mean, they are cute, but no.
They're gross too, because like when you try to pull them off, they just
Oh, the way
Splat.
they stick to the leaf. You can't. I just cut the whole leaf off. And then I like smush it under the leaf so I don't have to see the smushed bug.
That's so funny.
and then like
Yeah.
they splat. Like if you squeeze them too hard, they just
I know. They're under pressure in there. It's gross.
they're just like ugh. I used to be really afraid of spiders, but my phobia of spiders has gotten so much better since I started gardening. And now when I see a spider, I'm just like, meh.
Which is crazy to me because you're like, oh, the greenhouse is full of black widows. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
we don't have those here. We don't
you don't?
have any poisonous, venomous spiders here. Like they can't.
Huh.
The ones that we have that could hurt you don't have the teeth to actually hurt you. Yeah, it's just not a thing.
There's like a lot of philosophy in your garden somewhere,
Yeah.
Right?
The black widows love
Crazy.
my greenhouse. I don't know why. I guess just because it's like a safe place for them to be. But they love any little dark corner. So any time I'm picking something up, I'm always checking for a black widow. We have a lot of those here.
No, just move.
And those are
Just
venomous.
Burn the greenhouse down.
Yeah, I have so many black widows in my garden. And honestly, again to my like La La Land-ish approach, I mean, if I'm like gardening at night and I'm doing stuff like that, I always have gloves on. But other than that, I'm like, Spider-Man, we're fine. So it's like spiders, I have no issue with. And I always try and integrate pro spider vibes into my content of like, don't suck them up, don't kill them, they're really beneficial. But also now the hornworm thing I got in trouble with recently, again because I kind of live in the middle of like, yay, native plants, and then also like grow useful stuff for like your house and whatnot. And maybe it's just because I use such an intense term for it, but I have my tray of sacrifice where I put the hornworms, the cabbage loppers,
I've
even
seen this.
some of the cloudless sulfurs. And then I'll have the people like, give them to me, give them their own plant. And someone's like, I grow tomatoes just to support the hornworms. I'm like, you grow tomatoes to support the hornworms? It's like, do you hand out knives to murderers to support their hobbies? Like, that's the same vibe, Like, so it's
So
like
much
my tray of sacrifices got me in trouble, which is why now that I've been posting a bunch about my like bug vacuum, I'm trying to be like, I'm putting them in the freezer. I'm giving them a peaceful exit from reality, Like, I am not getting in trouble this time.
I like to leave my hornworms for if they don't have parasitic wasp eggs on them, then they get fed to the chickens. But if they do have parasitic wasp eggs, I just leave them because they're like on their way out anyways. And then you're supporting the parasitic wasp population, which parasitic wasps are not like the wasps we were just talking about. They're like teeny tiny little wasps that you don't even see them.
Yeah, they're so cute.
And they're so good for hornworms, aphids. Like, they parasitize a bunch of garden pests. They're like, I think they're my number one beneficial insect, to be honest, in my garden.
Dagny actually hates them because they don't sting. So,
Yeah, I only like the ones that are dangerous.
What else do we hate,
I know, we could probably talk all day, to be honest. All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up here. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And my handle is at Meggrows Plants. Dagny is at The Cottage Peach. And Aaron, can you tell our listeners where to find you?
You can find me at Garden Zaddy on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. But on Instagram, it's Hey Garden Zaddy. Just add the little hey and you'll find me there.
You got to check him out. His content is amazing. Okay, we'll see you guys in the next one.